You know how people are doing those like little letter things like they put on Instagram? That's going to be the next one.
Absolutely. We should post
Bring that one in.
Absolutely. Deschilds.
Satan
yells. Don't listen to those yellings.
Yeah, but seriously, that is true.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny how he yells and there's a lot of yelling going on. And then you have to be really focused on what God is telling you and showing you. Like you almost missed it because you're not paying attention that it's easier to pay attention to the lie.
Or it felt like it was too many answers to prayer.
Yeah.
Like how
it's too good to be
in
true.
In a way,
kind of
I was like, is this real?
Yeah.
You know, God, are you really answering like this 5 prayers that I've been praying for? Like, is this real life? And even this week I had that battle in my mind. I had a battle like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm taking away from Des. Maybe she actually doesn't really want to do this duo with me. Maybe she feels pressured.
I was going to talk to you about it, but you know.
But like seriously, and
no, not at all.
I seriously believe that I was under a spiritual attack because I had so many doubts.
Really?
So many doubts. Oh, maybe I'm
didn't
not.
Tell me that.
Maybe she's not happy with what I'm doing. Maybe I feel like she's taking. Maybe she thinks I'm taking away from her. I'm a burden. I should just quit. Like all these things.
You didn't tell me that, and now she's telling me here on the podcast.
Just trying to be real honest. But that's honestly where I was. Even this morning, like I came in here heavy.
Wow.
Yeah, heavy.
I noticed a little heaviness, but I figured it was from everything going on, the past few weeks. But
I don't ever want to be a burden to someone. And I think it's hard because I have a hard time believing in my own self. Mm-hmm. So believing that I am not pulling you down as opposed to bringing you up, that's a hard thing for me to battle.
We should talk about that later off podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
But seriously, like it was a spiritual attack for me. I firmly believe it because we had practice on Thursday nights for Sunday, and on Thursday, like I couldn't hear my vocal. Everybody's like jamming and having a rough practice. I couldn't hear anything, and I was like, God, what the heck is going on? Like, and I went home again feeling defeated, and I just really think that there's such a huge revival coming, that there is a big amount of a fruitful harvest that we're going to see, and that Satan is scared. Mm-hmm. And so he finds that he knows my weaknesses, self-doubt and anxiety, and he sees, oh, there's a little loophole. I'm just going to peck away at that and peck away at it and peck away at it until she quits because I don't want her doing that. Of course he doesn't want me doing that because it's going to be glorifying to God no matter what. And so, yeah, it was a major spiritual attack for me this week. We should talk about
that more.
We will. Yeah. Not today.
Because I didn't know it was that heavy on your heart. Like, I knew at practice you were flustered, and obviously, it was chaos. When that happens for me, either I get frustrated or I'll just like, you know what, I'm just going to shut down in a good way, and I'm just going to laugh it off. And I'm going to prepare the best I can. We're doing all hymns, for those of you who don't know. We're doing a throwback Sunday.
We will be in pencil skirts.
Yes.
As said.
Did you bring those
3 weeks ago? I brought you one.
Oh, did you? Great.
Yes, I did.
Thank you for remembering.
But, yeah.
So it was kind of hard for us because it's just different melodies, different harmonies that are a little bit harder. And we've got 4 vocalists instead of, one melody and then 2 vocal harmonies. So it's just a lot going on. So anyway, what else do you have for us that we could answer?
The only other question that she had was, do you have an experience like this? Like, have you met someone or know someone that maybe was an unbeliever that hadn't been to church or had never prayed? And do you have a story of kind of how that played out and what that looks like? Whether it's funny or serious or maybe it's still in the works, but do you have something that is tangible?
So an unbeliever that came to church eventually or was more open or okay, I'm thinking on it. Like I always mentioned this guy that works here at the studio. Mm-hmm. He came to church once, sat in the balcony, way in the back.
Way.
And he's still not quite open to relationship with God. One, because he just loves his lifestyle, and I don't think he wants to leave that lifestyle. And I think that's the biggest hindrance to a relationship with Christ.
I can understand that.
So he's so sweet, though. He's a faithful worker here. He's not even a believer, and he's like one of the most faithful people. Faithful to my husband, as a friend, as a business partner, and then just constantly faithful and coming here every week. So I don't know if he's the greatest example. He's just the one I can think of right now. It's not very funny, though. It's not a funny story.
No. And I don't really I don't have anything funny.
Like, no.
I don't have anything funny about, because, I don't know. It's just always kind of a more serious situation.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the people that I grew up with and who I was involved with in my life have been Jesus followers to some degree. Mm-hmm. Maybe they, you know, left the church for a little bit and came back, but always to some degree. Some people that I have worked with have been unbelievers. And I think that that's just the norm. Like, you're in your everyday work field, unless you're working in a church. It's just, you know, it's common. But friend-wise, also, I kind of just fell into that, you know, and I don't want to say lucky, but an easy kind of church-going friendships. And not deep friendships, but just like easy understanding. But my one friend, Carolyn, she's the opposite of me in almost every way. Like, she loves to wear black. I love to wear white. She loves to listen to crazy, intense music, and I'm over here listening to worship. But there is a beautiful relationship that we have that I could never live without. And I love her no matter what, or no matter who she is or the decisions she makes, and I'm never going to change that.
And here she is asking you
exactly.
questions.
And I think that, okay, maybe she might not decide to do any of these things. Am I going to change who I am around her? No, I'm not. Am I going to change how I love her? No, I'm not, because I'm still me, and I still have Jesus in my heart. And I'm still going to love her just the same. And I'll answer any questions that she has. And I'll be there to pray for her. And I'll be there to support her, because that's who God has called me to be.
Amen.
And, you know, that's it. I love you, Carolyn, whole heart.
That's awesome.
And I'm grateful that you asked these questions. I think they're so important for everyone. And I think they're important for even our fellow Jesus followers, because I think we get worried of how to approach people in this way.
Absolutely. And, you know, years ago when I was trying to witness to, well, his name is Bill, same guy, business partner here. And I was trying to talk to him about the Lord, and he actually asked me, you know, why I have this relationship with God. And I told him, and eventually, after some time, the Lord really spoke to my heart and said, you need to stop talking about it, and he needs to see it in your life.
Amen.
Preaching moment.
Preaching.
And just like you and Carolyn's life, you know, obviously she's asking you questions now and she's curious, but she is seeing that love that you have for her, and you're still a believer and you're not judging her. And people really need to see the love of Christ in you before they're open to relationship, because they've been lied to by the media and by movies that make fun of Christians and say that we're closed and we're judgmental and you're going to hell and God is this dictator and he hates everybody, you know, kind of mentality. And that's the lie that Satan keeps feeding the world. And they need to just see that we live differently. And if we don't, then they're not going to be open to relationship, because why? Why would they come to know Christ if we don't live any differently than they do?
Right.
So
live like Jesus. Be like Jesus. Period.
Yes.
I hope that answered your questions.
Yeah.
And I hope that it opens doors for whoever that is, whether it is an unbeliever, whether it's believers who are having some interaction with unbelievers. Like, I just hope that this is an encouragement and kind of helps people propel forward in whatever relationship that they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, if you are evangelizing and you are trying to help people grow in their knowledge of Christ and accept Christ, the biggest advice I can give you to believers right now is to listen. Don't talk their ear off. When they ask questions, answer them in a way that's non-judgmental or non-pushy, and ask them questions like, how did you come to not believe in God?
Why?
Yeah,
Right,
why
like,
don't
why?
you believe in God? And tell me your story. Like, be interested in who they are instead of like trying to get them to convert. Because it's just not going to work.
It's not. It's just going to be a negative connotation, and it will make them forever remember it as a negative thing.
Yeah. So I think that's how we can, as believers, get people to be more open to relationship with Christ. If we're open and honest with them and love on them and listen to them, because they need to be listened to and understood.
Just like we all do.
Amen.
So,
Yeah.
in closing of our podcast, you want to talk about some songs?
Yes, I was
You
opening my
do?
Amazon Music right now. You can listen to the Gals podcast on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple.
All
Is
of
that
the
like Apple Podcasts?
I think it's
guess
Apple
that's what it's called?
Podcasting. Yeah. But all of the podcast places,
Yes.
that wherever they stream, you can find us.
Go on our Instagram, the Gals Podcast, and you can follow Julie and I on our separate personal accounts at Des Childs and at the Julie Avenue.
And now we have our Facebook.
Follow us there. Leave us a review. I know Apple Podcast allows you to leave a review there. I'm not sure on Spotify.
You don't have to leave, if you don't want to write anything,
you don't
you can
have to
just
write anything.
you can just give us, some stars. I would recommend 5, just as a recommendation.
No less than 5.
Yeah, no less than 5.
No less.
Um,
Tell me what you got.
songs wise. So this week there have been some releases, and you know that I have been waiting for the new Brian and Katie Torwell album. And the album is called Anticipation. And I'm sure people have said this a million times, but the anticipation for anticipation was killing me. It was.
That is so funny.
It was killing me. I had been waiting to hear it so badly. I was so excited. And another one of my favorites, Sarah Reeves, she also released a song called Anxious.
So funny that you follow her too. From the Belonging Co.
Okay. So that song, I don't have words. Just go listen to it. Watch the video. Get ready to cry though. If you have anxiety, just get ready to cry
and
about
I had
it.
no idea that she had anxiety because I watch her videos and she's like traveling everywhere.
I love her.
I'd be an anxious mess.
Yeah, me too. But the Brian and Katie Torwell album.
Yeah.
Oh, guys.
So good.
It's so good. But months ago, Brian and Katie sang the song Your Will, Your Way one time for a Jesus Culture. One time.
Mm-hmm.
They said that they had written it, and that they did it one time at a service. I watched it, and I was like, I've watched it since then because they save their recordings, so I watched it since then. But I searched for that song.
Your Will, Your Way.
YouTubed Your Will, Your Way. I looked all over the place for it.
She can't find it anywhere.
And
They're
I
not
couldn't.
releasing that one.
And guess what? It was released.
Get out of here.
It was released. It's the last song on Anticipation, Your Will, Your Way. And when I saw it, I was like, yes, Jesus. So now anybody can listen to it. Please listen to it. It's so good.
God answered your prayers.
So good. You can just listen to that song and just sit in that moment. Sit in there.
You're welcome.
It's so good. Yeah, listen to it.
Well,
You're
maybe
welcome.
we should end on that note because
You don't have anything?
no, I do, but I have been listening to non-Christian music.
Oh,
'cause
so
there's
I want to hear what it is.
some awesome songs.
You tell me what it is.
It's so funny that you have like this beautiful spiritual answer, and I'm like, I listened to a country song by Jason Aldean.
Oh,
It's
Jason
called
Aldean.
"You Make It Easy," and it's about this guy that loves a girl, but it's easy loving her. She makes it easy. It's just
love that.
I love some of the country stuff because their songwriting is just so deep. It's so good. They tell these stories. I'll bet some of them are not. You should not listen to all of them.
I'm not a big fan of like songs about tractors.
No, tractors, getting drunk, all of that stuff's stupid.
Not my jam.
But some love songs like that, it's just the way they recorded it, you can almost feel yourself at like prom with the disco ball going around and you're just dancing with your babe.